Good morning. Today we got a 2017 Ford Edge. Customer was complaining about a rattling sound that happened. Lasted for a couple of minutes while driving in the car, but then all of a sudden it just stopped. After that we got a torque converter code that showed up. So the customer has asked if we can just do a transmission flush today. So hopefully by flushing the transmission, if a valve is stuck open or if it's binding, the addition of the new fluid will help break it free, help lubricate some of those parts. So stay tuned, we're gonna get into it right now.
Well, look at you, smarty pants. Thanks for tuning in to the commentary video. Let's jump into this 6F35 trans. If you're not sure if you got a 6F35, check out my YouTube short on the matter. Get the car jacked up, use a jack stand, and take off the wheel. If you got an impact gun, you can jack it up and then take the tire off. If not, make sure you break it on the ground. Once it's out, waboom, you got a seat. Check it out. The fill plug right here. It's a 10mm hex. Make note of it. You're going to come back to it later in the video. First, we're going to take off the silencer. These are some really small bolts. I believe they're 8mm or even smaller. So you're going to crank out all the ones from the front, and then there's going to be two on either side that kind of hold the rear of the silencer in. Pull these and get the silencer to the side. The silencer is called the silencer because it's responsible for your quiet ride in these newer cars, so don't leave it off. Put it back on the customer's car when you're done. This is the drain plug for the transmission. Go ahead and pull that off. The bolt is very small. Don't over torque it when you put it back on. You can pull the vent off the top to help it drain faster like we do right there.
You can see that the trans fluid is pretty black. Could be an issue that it's just dirty fluid and not acting like a detergent like it should. But if this doesn't fix it, so it could be that I just need to take off the pan for this guy. The connector is right there. Very well could be that the solenoid's right behind there, but let's change this fluid.
As a matter of fact, it is. The entire main valve body assembly is there.
TSB says make sure that this is in neutral. We've got it chalked on both wheels.
Yeah, listen to that dummy right there. If you're jacked up and in neutral, chalk your wheels. This is the fill plug that we showed earlier. It's a 10mm recessed hex. Go ahead and pull that out. Do not lose an O-ring that comes along the rim of this plug. Keep that O-ring with the plug. Don't lose it, or you'll be leaking. Slip back under and put the drain plug back in. It's very tiny, so notice how I torque it by the head of the ratchet, not the handle. This technique will safeguard you from over torquing it. Put a funnel into the vent, and we can drop in our automatic transmission fluid in there. This car drank a full 5-quart jug and then some right here. While you're doing this, you're going to be listening for fluid to fall out and dribble out of that fill port. You can see it right there. So you're going to let that dribble out into your drain pan below. Once it's done dribbling out, you can remove that funnel and replace the fill plug. Use your 10mm hex to drive it in. Don't go too tight because we're going to pull this right back out. I even leave my drive inside the plug. Next thing we're going to do is listen to this dummy.
Start the engine and put it back in park. So keep the brake on since we're still up in the air. And we are going to put it through the gears, but not take our foot off.
Alright, so reverse is engaged. Neutral. Drive. Sport. Drive. Neutral.
All the while my foot is on the brake. Reverse. Park. Now let's do it one more time for good measure. Foot on the brake or else you will roll away.
Yeah, I can't express how important it is to keep your foot on the brake at this point where we got a wheel off, the car's up in the air, you're putting it in gear. If you're not comfortable, put the tire back on the car, put it back on the ground, and then run through the gears. Alright, at this point, we are ready to pull that port. And if you see any fluid come out and dribble out, it will give it an opportunity. If it's still dry, this means that we need to fill up the transmission with some more fluid. In this case, it was dry, it wasn't leaking out again, and it drank a whole another quart of ATF. You can see the customer here is helping me spot when it starts to drip again from the fill port. Once it's completed its dripping into the pan, go ahead and put the plug back in. This time, don't leave your 10mm hex in the plug. Pull it because we're going to start driving the car around. snug it up just a little bit, put the tire back on. Remember, do this in the star pattern so that the lug nuts seat correctly and evenly throughout the tire. Once you get it snugged up, get the car back up in the air, remove your jack stand, let her down, get your torque wrench, and make sure you torque it in the star pattern. Remove our funnel, replace our vent cap so we don't spill any as we drive, and we're going to take this baby for a spin. Take it around for a 15-minute spin. Listen for any weird noises coming from your transmission, but if you filled it both times, check that fill port for dribbling twice, you should be relatively okay. You shouldn't be hearing any weird noises here. But obviously, if you do, pull the car over, don't drive it. Now we're going to do our final level check. Going down underneath the car, newsflash, you can do this entire procedure without needing to remove the wheel. So put the drain pan under, go underneath with the wheel turned so you get more clearance. Remove that plug with your 10mm hex. Pull it and then go back up to the top of the car. Remove the vent and start filling ATF through the vent hole again. You'll see it start to drip back in the pan. Once it's finished dripping, put the fill plug back in and the vent cap. So leave any questions in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we will see y'all next time. Thanks for tuning in.